You gave up a TV job to start a podcast in your basement. If that doesn't scream midlife crisis, I don't know what does.
It was Championship Sunday here in Indianapolis. What's the mindset then coming in as a defending champion?
I want to win. No, I want to win.
The young lady over my shoulder, Caitlin Clark.
Not the best looking guy. And I don't think anyone's going to sit here and say, wow, Matt Randazzo was really good looking.
What has this last month, 2 months, 3 months been like for you? It's an important fan base for the Fighting Illini, is it not?
It is.
He turned 69 years young last week. You look good, Coach.
Oh, try it. Thank you.
Welcome to Off Day with Matt Randazzo here on a Thursday in the Quad Cities. Thursday, August 13th. Thank you guys for joining us wherever you are and however you are watching the show. It is 10:04 and I am 4 minutes late today. And it has been a fun morning at the Randazzo household. If you're anywhere around the state of Iowa, including here in the Quad Cities, the weather is going to be interesting today. That includes during this show. So we're hoping everything goes well. We've had a few minor technology issues, but we're up, we're running, we're ready to rock and roll, and we should have a very fun filled day here on Off Day with Matt Randazzo as we get ready for what should be an even bigger and more fun day tomorrow in Iowa City. We'll get to that in just a second. First and foremost, if you're watching us live on YouTube, thank you for doing that. We appreciate that. If you're subscribing, thank you. If you're not subscribing, what are we doing with ourselves? What are we doing with our lives? Like, you should be subscribing, and then, of course, tell a friend or two or 10 about what we're doing each and every day, each and every weekday right here in the Quad Cities and around the states of Iowa and Illinois and the Midwest, off the air with Matt Randazzo. So thank you guys. If you are subscribing, if you have not, get going, do that as well. Make sure you're interactive as well. We have a great chat going on. Our everydayers are there chatting on YouTube. We appreciate that. And then, of course, you can hop in and one, become an everydayer, but then also ask questions, comments, complaints, all those kind of things. We appreciate that as well. Also, we are live on X. X has been very, very good to us. So if you're watching on X, we appreciate that. Thank you for doing that. We are also streaming on the WHO Plus app in the central Iowa area. We appreciate that. We love that. We've been doing that for almost a year. So, and tomorrow's show, our friends in Iowa will love. We'll talk more about that coming up here in just a second as well. We've been talking a lot about it on the show the last couple of days as well. If you missed yesterday, also the podcasting platforms, you can check us out. You can listen to the show on anywhere you get your podcasts, whether it's Spotify, iHeart, Podbean, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts, put in Off the Air with Matt Randazzo, and you can listen to the show each and every day as well. If you missed yesterday's show, we had high school football focus. Rusty Van Wetzinga from Pleasant Valley joined us to preview the Spartans. Also, Matt Furlong from Geneseo joined us as well. That was a bunch of fun. So thank you to those two. If you missed those two free previews, go check them out. And then also we had Lauren Cox from Locked On Bears talking about the loss of Kobe Bryant, safety for the Bears, and then just getting ready for the preseason, because preseason football, it begins tonight. I know the Hall of Fame game was this past weekend or last week. I understand that, but the full slate of preseason games, and I know it's fake football. I know it's not real football, it's fake, but it's still the NFL. It's back, and that's exciting as well. So Lauren Cox yesterday on Off the Air, go check that out if you missed it as well. As for today's show, a lot to get to. Coming up in a matter of moments, we'll get ready for Iowa Football Media Day tomorrow, and more importantly, maybe Kids Day coming up with Tyler Tachman from the Des Moines Register. I gave Tyler some homework. I said, give me your 5 most impactful Hawkeyes this year. So we're going to get that from him, 5-1. A lot of talent on this year's Iowa's team, some question marks as well. Quarterback, a big issue. So Tyler Tachman coming up in just a little bit. Also coming up in hour number 1, we're going to catch up with Jake Brend. Some cool news yesterday when it comes to the Cyclones. The Pacers and Timberwolves will play a preseason basketball game at the Hilton Coliseum on October 7th. Tyrese Halliburton, Taman Lipsey probably as well, playing at the Hilton Coliseum. I think that's really cool. We'll talk to him about that. And then it's a busy time for Iowa State. And if you look at Iowa, you have a lot of answers. You know a lot of the things that Iowa has when it comes to football this season. You don't really know that for Iowa State. You're not sure when it comes to players and impacts and standouts, because it's a different look. But I'll tell you one thing, and I think whether you're an Iowa fan, an Iowa State fan, if you're just a college football fan, Jimmy Rogers is interesting. He's transparent. He was yesterday. We'll get to that as well. So some Cyclone talk coming up here in hour number 1 of the show as well. We didn't get to it yesterday. Wednesdays, we like to do our FCA story of the week with Dan Pearson. We have that for you coming up today as well. That and a bunch more as we get rocking and rolling a little bit late, but we're up and rolling here on a Thursday in the Quad Cities. And of course, wherever you're watching this, we greatly do appreciate it. We mentioned it. It's a big week. Today's show is going to be a bunch of fun. Tomorrow's going to be even more fun. We're going to be, for the second straight time, off the air. We'll be at Iowa Football Media Day. It's tomorrow, August 14th, 3 to 5. So our plan, and things can change. Card subject to change, if you will. But we will be there for the second straight year, hoping to kick off the show around 3 p.m. with the one and only Pat Angerer. And then we will be joined by several Hawkeyes, some local Quad City Hawkeyes, Kyler Girardi, Nolan DeLong from Durant. Yossi Epinesa will join us hopefully tomorrow as well. Addison Ostrang is on the list, several others. We're hoping to sit down and chat with both Iowa quarterbacks at the same time. Jeremy Hecklinski and Hank Brown. That's the plan. That could obviously change, but that is the hope. Kirk Ferentz hopefully on the show tomorrow as well. So there's, you can see the picture of us doing the show last year. I'll put some videos out later today of the fun we did have there last year. Again, thank you to the Iowa Athletic Department, the SIDs, Matt Weitzel, all of those guys for allowing us to take this show and bring it to Iowa Football Media Day. Worked out great last year. Hopefully more of the same this year as well. Also, a little announcement when it comes to the pregame show. Of course, I get to do my second season as the pregame host on the Hawkeye Radio Network, and we're changing things a little bit. So we'll talk about that tomorrow as well. So again, don't forget, different time tomorrow. No show at 10 a.m. I ain't doing two shows. So 3 o'clock to 5 p.m. Get your weekend started off great. Get off work early or finish your work week with a fun episode of Off the Air with Matt Randazzo from Iowa Football Media Day coming up tomorrow right here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Some news and notes real quick. We mentioned the preseason game when it comes to the Pacers and the Timberwolves. I think that's going to be a ton of fun. Baseball-wise, the Cubs win again. Brewers lose. It's a 3-game lead for the Brewers in the National League Central. We'll talk some more baseball coming up the following weeks. I know football, we're really, really heavy with football right now, and rightfully so. Everyone's excited, but the Sox are in first place. Yeah, they're like 3 games over 500 or 4 games over 500, but they're in first place. And the Cubs are 3 back. They're going to make the postseason, whether they win the division or they're the wild card. They're playing really good baseball. They have one more with the Nationals, and then they turn around and they have the Cardinals, and I think it's the White Sox. So 2 rivals back-to-back in big games. They play the Brewers 7 times, I think, in September. So Cubs baseball will be interesting as we hit middle of August and the stretch one, probably about 6 weeks left in the baseball season. So good news if you're a baseball fan, if you're a Cub fan. When it comes to baseball as well. So again, baseball talk later, but a lot of people focused on college football, and rightfully so. We are quickly approaching 3 weeks out to the first game of the college football season in Iowa City tomorrow and Saturday. Very important. We have Media Day tomorrow, Kids Day, which is always fun, but I think this year when you don't know who the quarterback is even more important than ever. So we have a lot to get to, and we'll do that with one of the best in the business right here on OTA. So joining us now with Media Day, now almost 24 hours away, Tyler Tachman, one of the fantastic media members that will be converging to Kinnick Stadium and the Iowa practice facility tomorrow. Happy Thursday, my man. How are you?
I'm doing good. Getting ready for the season to get going. This is kind of another, I feel like we hit the markers of how close the season's getting, like Big Ten Media Days and then Iowa Football Media Day, Kids Day. It's feeling like the season is getting ready to go.
Yeah, it's funny because Media Day's tomorrow. I think there's some excitement, some questions to be asked and answered, but I think both of us kind of agree that it's almost that day after, Saturday, Kids Day, where we might have the most focus. Kind of talk about that because, yeah, tomorrow's fun, and we talk to people, we learn more about players and those type of things, but this year's Kids Day seems to be a little more intriguing than others, because of the quarterbacks.
Yeah, I'm probably more of a actions guy over a words guy, and there's Friday is a lot of talking, saying this guy looks good, this is encouraging, but to me it's the actions that are more important, and that's what we get to see on Saturday with them actually being on the field, being in a live action scenario. And, does this year's kids, they have a little bit of extra spark to it? I would say yes and no. Yes, because the quarterback battle, that's the headliner. We don't know who Iowa's starting quarterback is going to be. So to see Jeremy Hecklinski and Hank Brown out there, that's definitely piquing my interest and the interest of many fans. But also no, because I feel like every Kids Day since I've been here, there's something that people want to see. Last year was Mark Gronowski coming off of his offseason surgery. 2 years ago, it was Cade McNamara coming back from his injury. And the year before that was just that disastrous Kids Day where Cade McNamara went down with his injury, and his quad injury, but that was kind of the first domino of what ended up just being a disappointing Iowa career. So it feels like every year there's a little bit of something that people are looking forward to watching, but this year definitely with the quarterback battle, there's definitely some attention on it.
It is interesting because we will see Saturday, and there's some years where, like, I'll always see something and go like, well, it's Kids Day. I mean, you want to see good things, you want to see good plays, but I don't always take a ton of stock in, even if somebody struggles, like it's one game, it's a Kids Day. But I think this year, publicly, especially public perception wise, Saturday is important. How important is Saturday? I guess twofold. One, for the coaches to see said quarterbacks out there in front of people doing things. And then again, they see them every day. The fans don't. This is the newest time that we get to, the latest time that we get to see the quarterbacks. So how important is it from both perspectives?
This will be the biggest sample size we get until the start of the season as fans, media members, to get a window into how these guys are looking. And it'll sway public perception as a result of that, because we don't get to see them on a regular basis. Now, I don't think that the decision should solely be made on how they perform at Kids Day or public perception. That's where it's going to be important for Kirk Ferentz to provide some of that context of like, hey, did this one guy have a really good day and this one guy have a really bad day? Because it's possible for that to happen. But outwardly, that's how people are going to kind of perceive the quarterback battle to be. So hopefully, either way, Kirk Ferentz can provide some context as to, where the quarterback battle stands, how Saturday fits into the race, and just get a better idea of where things stand as we get closer to the start of the season.
I think that either you look at it and Jeremy Hecklinski or Hank Brown could be fantastic. Let's say one of them goes 14 for 15 with 3 touchdowns. I don't see a scenario where Kirk's going to stride over to the media and say, well, guys, the hay's in the barn. This guy's my starting quarterback. But I do think it's going to allow the experts, the Tyler Tachmans of the world and et cetera, to have a little more of a read. Do you hope maybe, I think the coaches hope this, do you hope to have a little better read at where this thing's going as we maybe talk next Monday or Tuesday back on the show? Or we should be able to get something out of this. You don't want it to be even Steven after this, do you? Or maybe it will be.
Well, I think best case scenario is they both look really good. That would be best case scenario, in that neither separates themselves, but they both look really good. Because then you still have 2 really good options. It would be easier if one looked good and one didn't, because then it becomes a little bit more obvious, at least from our perspective. But coming out of the spring game, neither one was head and shoulders above the other. We came out of the spring game basically saying, yeah, I kind of see what they're saying, in that it's neither one has really separated themselves. So is it going to be a similar dynamic this time around, where we come out of it saying, yeah, they both had some good throws and some moments that kind of were a little bit head scratching? Or is this going to come out where one looks substantially better than the other? My guess would be that we'll come out of it saying, well, maybe, it's about the same. Maybe one guy looked a little bit better than the other, but I could be surprised. Maybe, if one looks way, way better than the other. But I don't know. It'll be. I'm interested to see how it'll shake out.
No, absolutely. Tyler Tachman joining us on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Soon we'll be talking about games, and we'll be able to say like, "Hey, Tyler, what do you think Iowa's going to have to do against Ohio State or Iowa State or heck, the opener coming up soon?" Until then, we get to have fun and kind of do our like little, and everybody does them polls and important players. So I said to you, I said, "Hey, let's go through." Like our 5 most impactful players for Iowa. And your follow-up question, like a journalist that you are, is what do you mean by impactful? And that's a great question. I said, it's our show. We can do whatever we want. But like, I would say like, if these players do well, this is the way I looked at it. I put mine together. If these players do well, it'll greatly impact Iowa's floor or ceiling, however that may be. So I had you put together, and you can tell us how you did yours, but you got your 5 players 5-1, and that's what people care about, is what Tyler thinks. And then I'll follow up with what I think, as well as the goofy pregame guy that doesn't. I think everybody's awesome. I have to think everybody's awesome. But I guess we'll start like, how did you, when you got that text from me, how did you put this list together?
Well, yeah, I took a second to kind of think about it, and I was like, okay, so. What is he exactly going for?
Because
here?
best players are different. Like if I said best players, you'd be like, well, it's going to be
right.
Cade Pieper and go on from that. But like, impactful. But go ahead.
Yeah. So this is who I think the way I did my list is who I think will be the most impactful players.
Okay.
Not necessarily like ceiling raisers, because maybe a ceiling raiser would be like a Tony Diaz, who if he has a great season, then Iowa's ceiling is higher than it would be if he didn't have a great season. But I wouldn't necessarily predict him to have the best of the best season on the team just because he hasn't done it at Iowa yet. Okay. So I'll start. So am I going?
Yeah, go number 5 first. Go 5 first, and we'll talk about him. So number 5.
Okay, 5 first. 5. I'm gonna go Cam Buffington at linebacker, first-year starter. We've heard good things about him behind the scenes. He was a name that came up during bowl prep, but just to be that, it wasn't like Iowa's linebacker play was bad last season. It was good. It was solid, but there was going to be a step down when you move on from Jay Higgins and Nick Jackson. But can he be that what Iowa fans have been accustomed to, is that really, really good linebacker play? And on top of that, there's questions about the defensive line. That's the biggest question mark on the defensive side of the ball, and possibly even, alongside quarterback and special teams, the biggest questions for the Hawkeyes as a whole entering the season. But I think you can alleviate some of that worry on the defensive line if you have really good linebacker play. If you have Cam Buffington, Jaden Montgomery swarming in there to maybe clean up some of the deficiencies, if there are any, on the defensive line. So I'm gonna put him at 5. Now that is a heavy lift because he doesn't have a lot of game experience, and this will be his first time. Assuming he's a starter, it'll be his first time starting.
Yeah, I think he can lift a floor or a ceiling. Like I think he's going to be a star. I don't know when. And I think he's going to be good from the jump, but like, I don't know if he's going to be a star next year, if he's going to be a star in 2 years, if he's going to be a star right away. But if he's a star, like honestly, I have him, and I'm not doing my list yet, but we have the same number 5. That's who I have for my number 5 as well. Because like, if he's a star, if he's really good right now, like you just mentioned, it alleviates the concerns maybe up front. It gives Iowa, you want to have a star. I always look at Iowa where they always have like a stud on each level. Like if you go through, last year there was so many up front, but then you had the linebacker play, and then you had guys in the back end, and there's always somebody that's, and if they can have a star at that level, it's going to help the level above it. I think he's like a Jack Campbell kind of guy, where like, I think he can be playing on Sundays someday. So I love that. I completely agree. Number 4, most impactful Iowa Hawkeye from Tyler Tachman is.
I'm worried now you're just copying my list.
No, we'll see. Give me another chance. That's a good point. That's good point. Good point.
I'm getting a little worried here.
No, and Tyler, you know this, and this is awful, but like, if you copy off a kid in class, or if you knew the answers to a test, you always got to mix up one here and there. Yeah. You can't ace it, or they get a little. So I'll always switch one just to make sure I'm not copying off you. But go ahead.
That sounds like someone that's had experience cheating on tests before.
My kids aren't watching this show, so hopefully do as I say, not as I did. But go ahead.
All right. Number 4, I'm going DJ Vanami. I feel like I need to have a pass catcher in there. I was honestly torn between putting Reese Vanderzee in there or DJ Vanami. I think health wise, you just want to see Reese Vanderzee stay healthy for an entire season, and that's not his fault, but he's just been battling injuries. If he stays healthy for the entire season, I could see him being, I don't know if you want to call a breakout type of guy because he's already kind of more established, but just have the best season of his Iowa career. But I'm going to say DJ Vanami just because the way that he finished last season, being someone that can be a big play guy, that can be in the running game, that can be potentially a target in the red zone this season. I feel like he's just going to give a great safety net for whoever's back there at quarterback, someone that you could target for shorter passes, that you could try to take the top off of a defense, that can have yards after catch. Just the way he finished last season was, I mean, it everyone saw it, and it was exciting to watch. It gave Iowa that kind of explosive, dynamic pass catcher that they've lacked. So I think that he is primed for a great season.
Yeah, I think he's going to be fantastic. My interest with the tight end position, and it's not a bad thing, but I go back to the TJ Hawkinson, Noah Fant kind of era, and where one was really good or the other was good. They were both good. There's enough balls to go around, but like I do think that Addison Ostrenga is going to add something to the tight end room. And then there's other talented young wide receivers. The Meyer kid they really like a lot, and the freshman is at Manson. Julie Manson is on campus and playing well. Not that I think he's going to supplant an all Big Ten guy by any stretch of imagination, but I love the room, and I can see Iowa being productive with a couple tight ends every game where DJ's got, 5 catches for 80 and a touchdown, and maybe Addison's got 3 for 30 and maybe a touchdown as well. So when it comes to sheer numbers, I think it could go down a little bit, but yeah, I'm on board. I think DJ Vanami, I do not have him at number 4. So we can alleviate the cheating aspect of it. And I'm kind of switching. I'm doing one as well. I just did one quickly with just the most impactful players. So we're on the same mind thought too. So number 3, most impactful player for the Iowa Hawkeyes this year from Tyler Tachman.
Number 3, I got Cade Peeper. He's getting a ton of national attention entering the season as being one of the top offensive linemen in college football. And I think, he'll probably have a great season. I mean, you'd expect that. He'll be an NFL draft pick in 2027. But also because of his versatility, his ability to play center or guard. And based on what we heard from Kirk Ferentz at Big Ten Media Day, it hasn't been decided yet whether he's going to play center or guard. They're still trying to figure that out, which I think is a good problem to have because it means that they have good competition there. But I think I have to put offensive lineman on that list, and it could be Trevor Lauk, but I think with Peeper and his versatility of being able to play center or guard, I think he's going to be, one of those guys leading that unit forward. And he got that experience last season on the Joe Moore award-winning offensive line. And now as they try to bridge that gap with 3 new starters after you lose Jennings Dunker, Logan Jones, and Bo Stevens, I just see him being just such a crucial part to what Iowa does, not only in the run game, protecting whoever's back there at quarterback. So, I mean, I think he just will be a super, super important player to what Iowa does this season.
Yeah, Tyler, you look at it, he's probably the most NFL impactful player on the Iowa roster. When it comes to a guy who's going to make a lot of money someday and play on Sundays, it's going to be, is he a center? Is he a guard? Do we know yet what's going to happen with that?
No, I mean, we'll get a better idea on Friday and Saturday, I think, but it's possible they still don't know. But again, I think that makes it all the more valuable is that if he starts at guard and Iowa deals with the injury at center at some point in the season, you can shift him over there. So that versatility, I think, is really valuable.
So we got Cam Buffington, DJ Vaname, and Caden Peeper, 5, 4, and 3. Give me number 2, and then of course number 1 coming. Everyone's waiting in anticipation. I love this.
Number 2, I got Kamari Moulton at running back, and maybe, so me and Chad and I at the Register, we did our bold predictions this week, and my bold prediction was that LJ Phillips was going to be Iowa's leading rusher. So this kind of uh, goes against what I said in terms of bold prediction. But I think Kamari Moulton is the safer choice just because of his track record at Iowa, what he's already done. So I think him being with the uncertainty at quarterback and whoever's back there at quarterback, they don't have a lot of game experience at the college level. So you would expect at least early on in the season while they're still getting their footing and figuring things out, I was going to rely heavily on the run game, and you have what we expect to be a good offensive line again, despite those, there's some new faces there. So I would expect Iowa to be heavy in the run. There's a great stable of running backs. So Kamari Moulton, being that established guy, I think, if he can stay healthy, hopefully, he got banged up early last season, but I would say he'd be my number 2 most impactful guy, just because I feel like you're gonna need the run game this season, at least early on, while you try to figure out the quarterbacks, and he could be, with the offensive line, he could be a super impactful guy.
If you're talking about a running back at the University of Iowa that starts, yeah, he's going to be impactful. Like, they just go hand in hand. Yeah. It's not like it's I will say this. We did a fun little, it was John Bonenkamp and Kakert, and we just did like leading this, leading that. And I asked him who's going to lead Iowa in rushing touchdowns. Who would you have Iowa leading in rushing touchdowns? Because remember, last year Gronowski had 16 rushing touchdowns. Do they carry that over? Who do you think leads Iowa in rushing touchdowns to the end of the season?
Yeah. Kamari Moulton got the short end of the stick last season because Mark Gronowski kind of stole a bunch of his rushing touchdowns. So maybe he'll get the benefit and it'll come back around and water will find its level and so I would say the safe pick for me is Kamari Moulton. That's the obvious and safe pick. Yeah. Now, again, if I was to make a bold prediction, I would say LJ Phillips, just because he's someone coming in from South Dakota. He ran for almost 2,000 yards last season, which is jarring. And I think that we probably haven't talked about him enough, just because when he committed to Iowa's running back room was already good. They already had Nathan McNeil, Xavier Williams, Kamari Moulton. It's not like Iowa was in dire need. If they absolutely needed a running back and they got LJ Phillips, I think it'd be like, oh, he's going to be the number 1 guy and going to be kind of a little bit of a savior, but that's not the case. I was already in a good spot at running back, and now you just add him into the fold. So I'll say my safe pick would be Kamari Moulton, but if I was to make a bold prediction, I would say LJ Phillips.
Number 1 most impactful Hawkeye, according to Tyler Tachman, here on August 13th, is whom going into the season?
We get a drum roll? Or
of course. I'll even do it up here.
Is Zach Lutmer. That's a shocker, but he was arguably Iowa's most impactful guy on the defensive side of the ball last season. He basically played everywhere in the secondary, played corner, played cash, was able to just have that kind of the embodiment of a ball hawk, someone that can really create havoc, can create takeaways. And something that we've heard, and I talked to him about at media days, is that he's just such a smart, intelligent player. He plays games with the offense, disguising coverages, doing different things to try to trick the offense. So he's truly just, from a physical and mental perspective, he is what you would want in a star. And I think he has a chance to be one of the best defensive backs in the country this season. So what he did last season, breaking out, and now, I think he has a great chance to continue elevating his play, be the most impactful guy. And if he's returning punts, he can be dynamic with the ball in his hands. He was a quarterback in high school like Cooper DeJean was. We saw him have that pick 6 and kind of make moves in the open field against Minnesota. I was going to have to fill the shoes of Caden Weegan. If Zach Lutmer is that guy, you're talking about someone who could be impactful in 2 phases of the game, and in special teams, one that I was going to really need some help bridging that gap between last season. So I think Zach Lutmer primed for a huge season if he stays healthy, and just, again, like it was with Pieper, his versatility to be able to play so many places in the secondary, I just think makes him such a valuable piece.
Love it. So going 1 to 5 for Tyler, it's Pieper, Lutmer.
Whoa, 1 to
No, I'm
Wonder-
sorry. I'm doing mine. I'm looking at my own thing.
Oh,
You're Lutmer. You're right. My bad. I was
Okay.
looking down at the wrong list. You're Lutmer. Do yours again. So you're Buffington 1 or 5.
what is
DJ
going
4.
on here?
I know.
Yeah.
This thing's going crazy. I should have. So
I,
go ahead. You
I
do.
said, so mine was, I said Buffington 5, Vanami 4, Peeper 3, Molten 2, Lutmer 1.
All right. So
There we
mine,
go.
I do have
All right.
Buffington number 5. I have Yosei Epinesa number 4.
Really? Okay.
I think he's that talented. And Tyler, and I kind of did mine a little bit where like you almost, if he hits, if Yosei Epinesa's a star, like that changes everything for Iowa football, in my opinion.
Right.
I think
Yeah.
that's the biggest area of concern. And he's the most talented guy there. Like, I think he's just the most talented guy up there. Obviously, Kenneth Merriweather is really good too, but I think he could change a lot. Number 3, I have DJ. I do concern a little bit about the fact that, not concerned, I think he's going to be great, but I do think the tight ends, there's going to be plenty of targets to go around. And I'm curious I think Vanderzee is going to be good. I think Tony Diaz is going to be good. And so, like, as an Iowa fan, you're like, man, they got all these weapons. Like, can they have that many weapons? You know, like, is that fair to do? So, I think it might take a little away from DJ if other guys are really good. I have Lutmer at 2, and I have Cade Peeper at 1, just because I think he's the best player in the Iowa football program. I think he's going to be, when it comes to next level and playing next year and making money on Sundays, I almost put Trevor Locke on the list too. I think he's really, really good. I almost did him instead of Yosei, but I'm a Yosei Epinesa guy. I'm a recruiting guy. I loved recruiting, especially when it was more, I mean, it's still relevant, but like with the transfer portal, it's been different. But when you get these 4-star and 5-star kids that like everybody wants and you get them, especially with a family name, I'm just curious to see how quickly it flashes for Yosei. And I think he's one of the most talented kids in the program as well. Talk about your coverage. I know you and Chad will both be roaming around on Friday, on Saturday. You mentioned your bowl predictions. You guys have done a fantastic job getting everybody ready for what's going to be a fun season once again.
Yeah, Friday, Saturday, Hawk Central will be posting stuff. I'm going to try to get video on Kids Day of all the happenings, and be able to post video of Jeremy Hecklinski, Hank Brown, Trayden Bessinger. Hopefully we'll get eyes on him, the highly touted freshman coming in. So, hope to get you Iowa fans coverage from video, podcasts, written stuff, interviews, all of that. Try to keep you up to date as much as possible.
It'll be amazing because Tyler will post a 10-yard slant pass, and that'll be dissected by every Iowa fan for the next month until there's actually a game to be done. But I get it. It's a huge thing.
The weird thing about Kids Day is that, so obviously it's not televised, right?
Yeah.
So it's like there's a little bit of delay in the fan reaction to what's going on because you have to wait for the event. For like me, I'll wait till it's over, then I'll splice all the video together and then put it out. It's not like where it's on TV where someone throws an interception and the fan base knows immediately, this is not good. So there's a little bit of, it's like a little bit of a tape delay before people finally kind of get to understand and have a feel for how the day went.
It's a big weekend for Iowa football, Friday and Saturday, and then the countdown continues. We'll be talking games and actual football here real soon. Tyler, always appreciate your time. I will see you tomorrow in Iowa City.
All right, see you there.
Awesome. That is Tyler Tachman doing a fantastic job with the Des Moines Register. Him, Chad, everybody over there does a really good job. And a reminder, we will be live once again from Iowa Football Media Day, 3 to 5 tomorrow. We'll kick things off with Pat Anger, but we have a lot of people lined up, including hopefully both quarterbacks, Kirk Ferentz as well, Addison Ostranga, Yosei Epinesa, a cast of characters. We should have a ton of fun at Iowa Football Media Day coming up tomorrow right here off the air with Matt Randazzo. Special start time, 3 p.m. Don't miss it. And if you miss it tomorrow, watch it over the weekend. So we appreciate that as well. We got a lot more to get to. Coming up after the break, we'll switch from the Hawkeyes to the Cyclones. We'll catch up with our good friend Jake Brend right after this on OTA. Hawkeye fans, football season is quickly approaching, and only one place can get you game day ready. The Black and Gold Shop is your official retailer of Iowa athletics. The largest selection of Hawkeye apparel, t-shirts, sweatshirts, hats, and more from top brands like Nike, Champion, and Under Armour. And your purchases directly help support Iowa athletics. So stop by one of their 3 great locations in the Quad Cities, Coralville, or West Des Moines. Or shop anytime at blackandgoldshop.com. The Black and Gold Shop, your official apparel provider of Iowa athletics. For over 65 years, Lindquist Ford has proudly served the Quad Cities, and they're just getting started. Looking for a new ride? Check out a healthy mix of new and quality pre-owned vehicles ready for you. Need service? Skip the waiting room. With free pickup and delivery and mobile service, they come to you. No delays, no hassle. From routine maintenance to a full-service collision repair shop, it's fast, friendly, reliable, and always transparent. Lindquist Ford, serving the Quad Cities since 1959. Experience the difference today.
Hey, I'm the Crawford guy.
Ooh, do you guys always speak at the same time?
Sorry, guys. I'll go first. You know, if you need help with your heating or air conditioning,
Or electrical.
or plumbing, Crawford Company can solve your problem.
But what about your problem?
What problem?
Do you not hear yourselves? Take it from me, the Crawford lady.
And me, the Crawford guy.
Crawford is the comfort company.
Welcome back to Off Day with Matt Randazzo here on a Thursday in the Quad Cities. We've been talking tons of high school football, college football season. In fact, tonight the preseason, I guess, officially begins. I know it started with the Hall of Fame game over the weekend, but the Lions are playing football today, so I'm happy, even though nobody will play. But so we got a lot of football to continue to talk about, and we've talked a lot of Iowa. Of course, don't forget, tomorrow, Iowa Football Media Day. We'll be at Iowa Football Media Day live from 3 to 5. Great lineup set up. Some local kids from the Quad Cities. Yossi Epinesa will join us. Addison Ostranga. Both quarterbacks will join us at the same time. So that'll be a lot of fun to talk with Hank Brown and Jeremy Hecklinski, almost more about their relationship than actual football stuff. Kirk Ferentz, much more so. Tomorrow will be packed. And don't forget, not a morning show tomorrow. We'll be live around 3 o'clock. We'll kick things off with Pat Angerer. Hopefully that goes well and all that kind of stuff. So, but they're getting ready for football in Ames as well. It's a new era, and it's been an interesting era already. I think it's been fun if you're a media guy. We're joined now by Jake Brend on Off Day with Matt Randazzo. This Jimmy Rogers stuff has kind of been fun.
It has been fun. He doesn't pull any punches, and it's good because I think a large portion of the fan base was so upset and so emotional when Matt Campbell left that I think things got off to a bad start, and a lot of it just has to do with natural coaching change. It doesn't have to do with Jimmy Rogers himself, but him and his staff had to put together a brand new roster. They weren't out there doing media at the start, and I don't blame them because they had a lot more important things to do. And Rogers completely turned the corner. I think he's won over the fan base just by being authentic and giving real answers. It's certainly helped the media, where you can show up to a press conference and know he's not going to call me, or he's not going to treat me like I'm a fool. Yeah. And he's not just going to coach speak us to death. And I really have enjoyed it so far.
It's funny because you never want to be the guy to replace the guy. That's already going to be a tough situation. And obviously Coach Campbell was adored and well-liked and successful and those type of things. I think when sometimes you're the guy to replace someone like that, if you're just another guy, it doesn't work out well. He seems to have a personality, not like a crazy one, not like he's a nut job or anything, but like just a different, you mentioned an open book. I think people appreciate that. There was the Iowa comment at the basketball game to start the season, when he was hired, which I think fans love that. How important is it to have a personality when you're stepping into a situation like this? He's not dry. He's entertaining, if anything.
Yeah, I think it's important when you look from a sheer numbers perspective. Iowans don't have unlimited money. They just don't. And a lot of money goes to Iowa State basketball based off of this 5-year stretch where they've made the NCAA tournament each year, Sweet 16, 3 of those 5 years. There was a lot of money going to Matt Campbell, but when there's a coaching change, naturally a lot of people are like, okay, well, maybe it's time for more of that money to go to basketball, or maybe we're spending a lot on both sports. Maybe this is a good time. So it's really important from a actual logistic standpoint to be interesting. And that's exactly what him, and got to give credit to his whole staff, because offensive coordinator Tyler Roll is really he's just got a big personality. Same goes for the defensive coordinator Jesse Bobbitt, and then there's a position coach. Their passing game coordinator Ross Watson is the most electric soundbite of them all. And the more that those guys are out there doing podcasts, doing these press conferences, I think it just is growing the excitement more and more for the 2026 season, when understandably there's a lot of people who look at the roster and say, where's my favorite player? Where's my 10 favorite players? Yeah. And they're all gone for the most part. So it's understandable, and that's how they're building this excitement back up. And then the next step will be winning. That's the most important step of them all, but they've nailed the offseason, in my opinion.
It's interesting. We've talked about this too, but like, I do think there's been a change, especially in college sports, where it used to be, I feel like the college sports information departments were almost too protective of the media and finding out what goes in and goes out. And I think there's been just, I don't know if it's a conscious effort or just like an understanding that like you can use the media to dictate your own narrative, if that makes any sense. The fact that Iowa State coaches go on podcasts and those things all the time. 10 years ago, that was unheard of. You were lucky to get Kirk or whoever it was when they were available for that time. And I think they've done a good job and Iowa State has done a good job with that, as they've hit the ground running, because, there is a different era. They want fans to be educated about their product. And the best way to educate them, besides actual football, that's going to be the best education, is fans seeing it. But up until then, they can control the narrative. And I think they've done a good job at Iowa State of reminding Iowa fans. I think everybody's intrigued. I don't know if excited is like there's probably been other years of Iowa State football where like, hey, we're excited about this. We got this guy, that guy, this. I think there's a lot of intrigue around Iowa State football. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, and a lot of it, I think, too, is because it's going to be different. The football is going to be played under center, which it's been over a decade since that was the case. The defense is going back to a 4-man front, and I think a large portion of the fan base had grown tired of the 3-3-5, despite the success that it had for a decade. It clearly was showing its cracks towards the end of the Haycock era, and I really do believe that affected the atmosphere at Jack Trice Stadium when you're playing a bend but don't break style defense. If it's effective, it can work, but when it's not effective, you don't have the fans on third down expecting a sack, expecting to get after the quarterback. And I think over time that did hurt the atmosphere. So I think hearing Jesse Bobbitt say, "Oh yeah, we're just going to bring 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys." Like, I think that's going to ignite the crowd at Jack Trice, which is good, because I think despite a very, very successful 10-year stretch of Iowa State football, I feel like the atmosphere at Jack Trice was worse last season than it was, say, in 2017, 2018, when Campbell was getting things off the ground. So we'll see if Rogers can go out, and he'll have a chance to pull some upsets. If they're able to upset Utah or something like that, what that could do for the atmosphere at Jack Trice, which I still think is one of the very best in the Big 12.
Jake Brend joining us and Off There with Matt Randazzo. Jake, you look at let's talk about yesterday, because Bill Seals, who's been on the show a couple times, asked a pretty simple question. Just like take us through, kind of explain what happened, because I think he asked, and we've all had interviews like this where we've asked a question and it's like, well, I always joke, and we had Rusty Van Wetzing on the show yesterday. He's a Pleasant Valley head coach. And I would always joke that I'd ask Rusty, hey, how you doing? And my soundbite would be done. I just have to go through and pick them out. It sounds like Jimmy Rogers was an open book yesterday when it came to a simple question to start the press conference.
Yeah, it was pretty easy. Bill Seals asked about certain position battles on the depth chart, and Jimmy just said, "You want to start on offense or defense?"
Wow.
And then he started at quarterback and said, "Yep, it's Jalen Rayner." Went down to running back, Aiden Flora, Cam Petaway. All right, wide receiver. There's these guys, and he went through every position, and he didn't give us an exact depth chart, but there's a lot of insight if you read, I guess, into the order that he said things. And there was even a couple instances where he said, "Oh yeah, Tyler Fortenberry's tight end one. Oh yeah, Sullivan Schlimgen has been running Mike with the ones." So that's a lot of stuff that you probably don't get a ton in college football. Obviously, yes, Iowa, you can know. Okay, yeah, Addison Ostranga's coming back. He's this is where he's going to be slotted. This is where TJ Hall is going to be slotted. That happens, but when there's a brand new roster, you don't get the coaches just naming off the depth chart for the most part. Usually the depth chart comes out reluctantly 4 days before the season.
I wanted to talk to you about the actual players on this depth chart because Iowa State fans are the same way as just casual football fans. Like, as a casual football fan, a person who watches, kind of covers Iowa State, talks to you every week, I knew most of their starting lineup last year and their players and their impact players. I think that's not the case this year. We just had Tyler Tachman, talking about impactful Iowa football players. I don't know if impactful is the word I want to use with you, but who are three guys that, like, give me three guys that Iowa State fans are going to want to know about or are going to learn about quickly that they should be excited about? When you mentioned, like, I'm that way. When I was little, I was like, oh, this guy's coming back. This guy's coming back. Well, that was college sports. You used to like your favorite player being there for 4 years. This year, like, you look, if you're an Iowa State fan, there's probably not a lot of people that you're excited about. So give me three players Iowa State fans should be excited about according to Jake Brend.
Well, it all starts under center, right? It's a name that Iowa State fans are familiar with because he has given them problems, at least last year. Jalen Rayner, the starting quarterback coming from Arkansas State, it's not an exaggeration to say that the majority of Iowa State's offensive success will fall upon Rayner. And it's not even to go out and be an all-conference quarterback. It's to be annoying, I think, would be the right way to put it. I think he'll be somewhat limited in the overall passing game, and that's okay. He's not going to be slinging the ball 40 yards downfield, and that's by design. That's not what Iowa State's offense is going to be. Rayner's role is going to be, can you complete short to medium intermediate passes to guys in space that can go and make a play? That is how Iowa State will use the passing game. And then they're going to run the ball. They're going to run the ball a lot in a power-heavy scheme. And they're going to get themselves, by design, hopefully, in a lot of 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3. In that instance, Rayner's going to be under center. He's going to maybe bootleg left. He's going to look for a guy. And if he's not there, it's up to Rayner to make plays with his feet and be annoying. And I think he's got the ability to do that because we saw him do that to an Iowa State defense last year in Jonesboro, where he would have 3rd and 14, 3rd and 10, make 5 guys miss to get a first down. If he can do that, if he can extend plays and help get Iowa State to the mid-20s, that's all they need. If you get to the mid-20s and lose a game, then you tip your cap because I think Iowa State's defense is going to be pretty tough to score on. And if you can just put up 21 points a game, you're giving yourself a fighting chance. And a lot of that falls on Rayner, whether it is red zone success or just getting your team into field goal range to set up Kyle Conradi, who's one of the best kickers in the country. Second player, I'll go with Aiden Flora. And a lot of it has to do
Christian
with
McCaffrey.
Yeah, it's got to do with the hype.
That was fun. I love that. I love the Cyclone Fanatic you guys did because you insured it like, hey, this is the next. And then you put context to it. And the context makes sense when you put the context to it. Go ahead.
Yeah, Tyler Roll is high on Aiden Flora. I don't think he's predicting that he's going to be a top 10 pick and he's going to be the greatest one of the greatest, if not the greatest, fantasy football running back of all time.
Yeah.
But what they're saying is they want to use him like the 49ers use Christian McCaffrey, where they plan on him having 20, 25 touches a game, and that's not even including in the return game. Rodgers said yesterday that Aiden Flores is going to be fielding punts, and they understand that he's going to be their number one running back as well, but he's a playmaker in the punt return game. And this is an Iowa State team similar to what Iowa has been in years past. When you can take yards in special teams, you're going to take those yards. And I believe Flora will have the ball in his hands a ton. And I think Iowa State fans probably need to step aside from he's a walk-on from ADM. This is a player that this offseason had a lot of offers to go elsewhere for big money. Like he has developed himself from a walk-on to ADM to a legit Power 4 football player. Is he proven between the tackles yet? That's the question. Can he be a running back that does take the ball 20 times and is super effective? We'll see, but he's got the speed, he's got the power, and he's got limited vision that he showed last year to do that. It's just putting it all together and proving it as a redshirt sophomore.
It's interesting because you would think a guy like that would be an instant fan favorite for the Cyclones, for anybody in the state of Iowa. I mean, a guy that's a walk-on from a home state kid and those kind of things that shows the ability to get better. It's a great story. You'd think that, and I think he will. I think Cyclone fans will continue to fall in love with this kid. So give me one more. We got the starting quarterback, the starting running back, defense maybe? Give me one more guy. Or no?
Yeah, I'll go. Man, I have two. It's tough to narrow it down.
I'll let you do four.
Four, okay.
Give me both, okay.
All right.
I'm feeling generous. It's football season. You know me. Big-hearted Dazzo. Big ears,
I
big
appreciate
heart.
it.
That's what they say about me. Big ears,
Cubs
big
are on
heart.
fire. You're in a good mood. That's
right?
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
I'll go to the edge as Bobby Terrell. Actually, his real name's Isaac Terrell, but he looks like Bobby Boucher, or he did when he was a kid. So
No
coaches, teachers, administrators, everyone called him Bobby. And he was recruited as Bobby by college coaches.
That's the best story ever.
I'm pretty sure Jimmy Rogers didn't know that his name was Isaac.
That is
so Bobby Terrell, he led Washington State in sacks last year, I believe 7.5. He is relentless motor. He will be Iowa State's best edge rusher since Will McDonald. And if there's a guy that's going to get to the quarterback a lot, it's Terrell. And it's going to be really important. Iowa State's going to play a lot of guys. It's going to be hockey shifts on the defensive line, because if you look at the size of the roster, they are a touch smaller, and how they're going to counter that will be with speed. It will be with freshness. You're not going to see defensive linemen playing, like you won't see one or two defensive linemen playing the bulk of the snaps. I think they'll go 2-3 deep at those spots, which is okay because they're deep, but Terrell is the standout of that group, and he was, I think, easily the biggest player that Jimmy Rogers was able to bring from Washington State. He would have had a lot of opportunities to go elsewhere with the numbers and production that he had in Pullman. And then we'll go with another guy that followed Rogers and Bobbitt from Pullman, linebacker Sullivan Schlimgen. He is a sophomore from Sioux Falls. He wanted to go to Iowa State. He went to a recruitment camp a couple summers ago, and Matt Campbell offered one linebacker. It wasn't him. So Schlimgen committed to Rogers and them at South Dakota State. They take the job at Washington State. He follows him along. He starts the year as a true freshman outside of the 3 deep, grinds his way. By game 4, he's the starting linebacker playing against Ole Miss. And there's a misconception when you go back and look at Washington State's defense last year. They had this guy named, I believe it's Alex Palou, Anthony Palou, or Anthony Polano. I'm confusing with the IndyCar driver. He led the team in tackles, and everyone's like, oh, he's the guy that they've got to bring. He went to Boston College. I don't think the staff was too interested in bringing him. They wanted to keep the young guy, Schlimgen, who was a rising star by the end of the season, and he's wearing the green dot as a sophomore. he's in charge of the communication with the defense, and he's a Midwest guy. Obviously, a lot of history with linebackers from the state of South Dakota having success in our state. So he's a guy that I think fans will love, and the way Iowa State will use their linebackers, they're sideline to sideline. They're smaller, they're slimmer. It's not going to be run fitting like we've been used to in the 3-3-5 defense. So I think those are 4 names that you'll hear a lot on the main broadcast this season.
I think it's just going to be fascinating to watch. Just like you said, it's a mysterious team for Iowa State fans, for the rest of college football. And I think you're going to find so many good stories. You'll find some disappointing ones and things that don't hit, but it's the cool part of this team right now, and maybe of college athletics during this time period. In the transfer portal, you almost learn as you go, and there's no more learning process right now than in names. I want to talk to you a little bit about basketball because I thought this was really cool. Tyrese Halliburton heading back to Hilton Coliseum. What is it, October 7th for an exhibition game? It'll be the Pacers versus the Timberwolves. Fantastic idea. Where to come from? Whose idea was it? Was it Jake Brend's idea? Like, are you going to get all the credit for this? None of it?
Yeah, I've got connections with the Pacers. Chad Buchanan, general manager, Simpson College graduate.
I figured.
I actually do have a decent relationship with Chad, but this was not on my radar until I got the press release. It makes a lot of sense. We'll see how Tamin Lipsey can recover from his torn meniscus. But there's a chance that at some point we could see a Tyrese Halliburton, Tamin Lipsey backcourt at Hilton Coliseum, and I think that'd be really cool. It'll be one of Halliburton's first times back on the court publicly since he tragically tore his Achilles in Game 7 of the NBA Finals, and where better to do it than at Hilton Coliseum? It'll be great. It's the first preseason game at Hilton in a long time. I know back in the 90s, Fred Hoiberg came back with the Bulls, and they were able to face off against a couple of other former Cyclones. So it'll be a real cool deal. I'm sure the turnout will be really good, and I hope people don't expect some awesome game. I can't imagine Halliburton's going to play more than 15, 20 minutes, but I'd imagine in those minutes he's on the floor, he's going to try and put on a show and show love for a fan base that he still loves dearly. And honestly, he has a lot of investment in the recent success of Iowa State basketball, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Do we know, like, ticket wise when they come on sale and those type of things, or?
There is a day.
Sellout. There's going to be a sellout, right? You don't have to look or anything like that, but that's got to be a sellout.
Yeah, that's a good question. It's unfamiliar. I didn't get to go to the last preseason game that was at the Casey Center in Des Moines, but I would imagine that it'll be pretty close to sold out. It is still the NBA in the state of Iowa. It's not a sport that is huge yet, but we'll see. Tickets on sale September 9th.
September 9th.
You can really find that at iowastateathletics.com.
Just a really cool idea.
I can't wait.
And I think it'll be great to see. I forgot about Tamin, so that'll be interesting as well. Before I let you go, either caution me or scold me or encourage me about the Cubs. Like, 3 back, playing really good baseball. They did the opposite of what they did last year at the trade deadline. They were active. Where are we with our Cubbies right now?
I'm fired up.
Let's go.
I don't know how there's any other emotion that can be felt. They've been the best team in baseball since PCA turned it on in late May. And that's a long sample size. The Brewers just got swept. They've got to play the Dodgers this weekend.
Yeah.
And the Dodgers just lost 7 in a row. So you'd think law of averages, the Dodgers are probably going to win a couple against Milwaukee too. Take care of business against Washington today, and then St. Louis comes to town. Those scrubs. So who knows? 7 against Milwaukee in September. There's a real division race here in the NL Central, and I don't know how you can't be optimistic when PCA has been the best player in baseball this year. Suzuki had a rough start, but he's back to his true form. And Bregman, this last month, has been the player that you signed. And if he can keep that up with all the other players just pitching in and doing their piece and hitting the ball in play with the pitching that they've got, it's baseball. Anything can happen. I'm fired up for October.
It's interesting because a month ago, even a few weeks ago, you're like, they're going to make the postseason, but like it's going to be tough to catch the Brewers. And I kind of thought the same thing. Like if they start playing well and those games head to head coming up later, I mean, yeah, you don't want to be in a point where you have to win all of them, but like they're right there. And I think it's the Cardinals, and isn't the Sox after that? Like, I
believe
soon
that's
after.
right.
I think it's Cardinals and Sox. So like, what a great time for baseball. I know football is almost here, but man, if you're a Cub fan, you have big games with the Cardinals and Sox, which are always big games. But then you can scoreboard watch and find out what other teams are doing. Like, this is the fun part of baseball, is you can get me to September thinking about baseball with basketball, or excuse me, with football going on. Are they the best team in the NL, not named the Dodgers right now? On paper?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, the Braves are playing better.
Yeah.
Milwaukee, that they have the pedigree, and I'm fine with that. They've earned it, but they still need to prove it a little bit in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And last year the Brewers won that series, but the Cubs started Drew Pomeranz in the playoffs. The rotation this year is just a different level compared to last season. And ideally, I love Shota. Ideally, he's not going to start a playoff game because I think based off of his past in Japan, you wear down over the course of the season, and he doesn't throw hard. So if you take Shota and Pomerantz out of the rotation and replace that with Kevin Gausman and what David Peterson's doing right now, it's just a different level. And I think the bullpen is mostly better than last year. Still a couple questions, but I'm fired up. I think I could make a weird argument that I'd almost rather. No, never mind. I was going to say almost rather play the Dodgers in the NLDS because you want to shorten the series.
Yeah.
If you can make it a 5-game series instead of a 7-game series, I think that increases your chances because you've only got to go against Skubal once. But I don't know. I'd almost rather just try and get them in the NLCS and see if someone else can upset them and see what happens.
They struggled. I know they lost 7 in a row, but they're still the Dodgers. Those guys are still really, really good. Cubs expert and Cyclones expert, Jake Brend, joining us on Off Day with Matt Randazzo. Thank you for doing it, my friend. Enjoy the rest of your week. We'll be bugging you a lot more soon. And, man, football's going to be here before you know it. Enjoy the weekends while you can, because they're soon going to be gone. Appreciate you, man. Be good.
Well, soon they're going to be better.
Yes, that's very, very
Football
true.
is going to be on.
Busy is also better. So, all right, buddy. Be good. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Dazzo.
Awesome. That is Jake Brend joining us on Off Day with Matt Randazzo. Great stuff at the Cyclone Fanatic. I watch it most days, and it's a great way to get caught up on Iowa State athletics if you're an Iowa fan. And obviously the Cy-Hawk game's week 2. If you want to learn about your week 2 opponent, no better way to do it than check out the CycloneFanatic.com. We got more to get to. Coming up after the break, we have your FCA story of the week we got to get caught up on, and then we'll continue to chat a little bit about tomorrow's big show live from the University of Iowa right here on OTA. We'll be back right after this. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist.
Rafferty Funeral Home, dedicated to serving families in the Quad Cities since 2007.
Hi, welcome. Yeah, come on in.
An experienced staff plans each service to reflect the unique life and legacy of your loved one. Rafferty Funeral Home is proud to serve our community with dignity, respect, and compassion, helping you to celebrate your traditions and lasting memories no matter your faith, culture, or budget. Rafferty Funeral Home in Moline. Call today to discuss prearrangements.
When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with. Welcome back to Update with Matt Randazzo here on a rainy Thursday, stormy Thursday, once again here in the Quad Cities and around the state of Iowa. Talking with, obviously, Jake was in the Des Moines area, and Tyler, I believe, in the Iowa City area as well. And they said the same. So it's one of those weird weeks here. If you can't tell, like, I feel like I'm doing my show at night right now. It's absolutely pouring outside, but we're surviving technology-wise, and we're here with you, getting you through a Thursday here in the Quad Cities. Thanks again for joining us. It's been a busy show. Tyler Tachman previewing Iowa Football Media Day, Kids Day coming up on Saturday. Obviously, some big questions, and we had Tyler go through his 5 most impactful Hawkeyes going into the season this year. Jake Brend did the same thing. A bunch of fun with him, talking a refreshing Jimmy Rogers, I think, kind of not holding back and being very transparent with the Iowa State fan base, which is a very good thing as well. Excuse me. So, and then talking some basketball as well, because Tyrese Halliburton coming back to Ames, Iowa, in the Hilton Coliseum on October 7th. That'll be fun to see as well. Yesterday was Wednesday. We usually do our FCA, story of the week. Didn't get a chance to get to it yesterday, so want to get to it here today. That much anticipated senior year of high school has arrived for the class of 2027. There are special moments and challenges ahead. As the FCA's Dan Pearson reports, it's also an opportunity for many athletes who have been waiting for their time to shine. Here is Dan Pearson and your FCA story of the week.
Every team has them. Every team needs them. Those players throughout the years whose number and name you have to find in the program.
Coming into high school, I was pretty small. I mean, I was probably 5'6", 120, 115 pounds.
Fulton High School senior Evan Folk, a program player, grinding for 4 years. His time has come as wide receiver and defensive back.
I think one of the biggest thing is being able to sacrifice yourself for the greater good of the team. You're not doing what's best for you, you're doing what's best for everybody else.
Coach Patrick Lower says Evan Folk has been part of the greater good every minute since his freshman year. Great teammate, inspirational leader, friend to all.
First and foremost, he's a wonderful kid with integrity and character. He works hard outside of school. He mows yards. He does a lot of things to earn money. He's always busy. He's not just sitting around playing video games all day or staying up till 2 or 3 in the morning online or anything like that. He does a really good job of focusing on what the task is, whether it's schoolwork, whether it's competition. He's a 3-sport athlete, so he balances the education part and extracurricular very well.
Folk's role between the lines will increase this season as a likely starter. His role remains the same as he models important principles.
We have a big group of talented freshmen that could even really help us out this year, but in the years to come too. And I think that like helping them grow is also just as important as winning games.
There are plenty of life lessons oozing off of this field and plenty of other sports fields and arenas. And the coach says Evan Folk will be putting those to work long after football is over.
Adversity to them is maybe fumbling a ball or dropping a pass. When they get older, the real life adversity happens where you maybe lose a job or you lose a family member and that kind of stuff. And that's hopefully we're building kids' character through that and understanding how to handle adversity.
Coach Lower's been a really good role model for us, and like growing up with him as a role model and a teacher and a coach has really helped us all grow up. And it's more about life lessons, not just football.
A football folklore in Fulton, passed on coach to player, player to player, and beyond. With the FCA Story of the Week, I'm Dan Pearson.
Thanks so much, Dan. Of course, that's your FCA Story of the Week. The Steamers will play Peru St. Bede in their opener, excuse me, coming up on August 21st. Just 8 days away. It's crazy. You can also check out the FCA Story of the Week on WQAD on the Score Sunday on Sunday nights, and also Good Morning Quad Cities at 11 on Tuesdays in the 11 o'clock hour as well. And we always thank Dan Pearson. It was great to see Dan this past weekend down at the View from the West kickoff party at the other bar. So that was a bunch of fun. Dan Pearson, one of the best in the business in high school football season, will be here before you know it. If you missed the previews yesterday, Geneseo, we talked with Matt Furlong, and then, of course, Pleasant Valley and their head coach, Rusty Van Wetzinga, as well. So we've covered a lot of them, about 10 or 12 previews as well. You can check those out by going to the YouTube page, Off the Air with Matt Randazzo on YouTube as well, and check out all of the previews that we have coming up. And, of course, a week from tomorrow, we will be at a high school football stadium around you, getting ready for week 1 of the high school football season in Illinois, week 0 in Iowa, but there is a big game in Iowa when it comes to Geneseo and Assumption. Most likely that is where we will land when it comes to our live OTA show. Excited about that. More on that coming up next week as well. We got one more time out. Coming up, we will look ahead to tomorrow and wrap things up for a Thursday edition of Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. We'll be back right after this.
Hello, Dan Pearson here of FCA. Our team is thrilled to support Off the Air with our good friend Matt Randazzo. We share the view of the power of sport when it comes to relationships, including the influence of the coach. FCA believes the coach is the most influential person in America. Matt celebrates local coaches and athletes. His content is informational, insightful, and inspirational. Our Fellowship of Christian Athlete team loves partnering with Off the Air with Matt Randazzo while we engage, equip, and empower coaches and athletes in our 23 counties. FCA, the heart and soul in sports.
View from the West, the podcast covering Illinois high school football.
It's going to be a hard-hitting game. It's going to be great football.
Weekly analysis and reaction from around the western side of the state of Illinois.
This is the game we had circled when the year started.
Follow along on YouTube and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
It's big-time football out there tonight, and I know we can play big-time football.
View from the West. We got you covered.
Are you looking for the Quad City's best chips and salsa? There's only one dude to turn to.
Right on.
Snoop. Hand-cut chips, fried fresh with that crunch you've come to love. And the most addicting salsa with delicious fresh ingredients each and every time. Pick up your chips and salsa, queso, enchiladas, and much more at the Stern Center in Rock Island. To place your order, simply call the man himself. It's Snoop at 309-314-8197 and find out for yourself what the rest of the Quad Cities already loves. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Thursday in the Quad Cities. Looking at the radar, and we are getting lit up right now. So God bless the fact that I'm still on air. I think I'm still on air. Off the Air is still on the air, if that makes any sense. but a lot of rain around the state of Iowa and Illinois. So hopefully you are staying dry and enjoying a Thursday edition of Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. It's been fun. Tyler Tachman talking Hawkeyes, Jake Brend talking Cyclones, Dan Pearson, your FCA story of the week. A good day here on OTA. And we want to remind you guys one more time about tomorrow as well. Coming up tomorrow, we take the show on the road. We will be in Iowa City, OTA at Iowa Football Media Day tomorrow afternoon, 3 p.m. start. Right here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. You can check it out, of course, when it comes to the YouTube channel X. We will have it up on the podcasting platforms as well soon after the show gets done. You can also check us out on WHO Plus streaming app. They will be airing it starting at 3 o'clock, I believe, till about 4. So the hope for tomorrow is we kick things off with Pat Angerer. We've got some Quad City Hawkeyes lined up in the form of Nolan DeLong and Kyler Girardi. Also, Addison Estranga should join us tomorrow. Really excited to catch up with him. The journey that he's had the last year with injury and getting engaged and a bunch of things to talk to Addison about besides football. And then, of course, football as well. Yossi Epinesa will join us. Hoping to talk with both quarterbacks tomorrow on the show as well. And then, of course, maybe last but not least, the hope is to get Kirk Ferentz to come chat with us on set tomorrow as well. So a lot to get to tomorrow. Make sure you guys make the adjustment. No show tomorrow morning. I'm not doing 2. We're only doing 1 tomorrow. And then, of course, if you miss it on Friday, check it out over the weekend. It should be a bunch of fun. We had a blast last year, as you can tell, and we're hoping to do the same once again this year as well. So, again, tomorrow, live Iowa City, 3 p.m. right here off the air with Matt Randazzo. Should be a bunch of fun. If you've missed any of the shows this week, please go check them out. We've had a great time. Sunday, don't forget, we did our high school football preview show with the boys from View from the West, live from the other bar in Moline. If you missed that, you can check that out on the YouTube channel as well. No show on Monday. We didn't do one on Monday. But Tuesday's show, a lot of fun. Tom Kakert on that show. We talked about Don Nelson. We talked about Roger Craig. So a really good show on Tuesday. Yesterday's show, Pleasant Valley's Rusty Van Wetzinga, Matt Furlong from Geneseo, and then Lauren Cox from Locked On Lions. And then a great show again here today. And we're going to wrap things up with a fun show tomorrow from Iowa City. So enjoy the evening. Or in the afternoon too. Stay dry, stay warm, all those kind of things. Enjoy the rainy Thursday and get rested up. We'll have a blast tomorrow when it comes to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo live from Iowa City. We'll see you guys then.